right? So it's not a bad group in here. If you notice, a lot of you, it's your first year, oh, everything's so different. You start off when you're thinking about RVing, well, this is kind of easy, right? We just hook it up and go. And then you get out there and you start figuring out that there's all these little things that just not working right. Right? Now here we call those purple monkeys, right? So we all have them. We all have them here. We just call those purple monkeys, and I'll ask you, what is a purple monkey, right? This is a big, hairy problem that seems to have no answer due to lack of evidence or distortion of facts. One of those, as an avid RVer, is backing your trailer into your spot. If you've been RVing for any amount of time, you know that this is better than anything on Netflix, right? You're going, to a rally or something like that. They showed up early. Why? Because they get to watch you guys back into your spot. You first timers, you're in your first year. You're trying to keep it private. You're just looking through, the blinds, right? You don't want them to know that you're looking, but you're looking. Honey, we're no different, right? You feel good. You get about 5 years into it, you have no shame. You break out your chair, you sit in front, pop open a beer. Just watch them, right? Because it's good. You feel good about yourself. It's not just me. Well, in the RV space, we have a lot of these purple monkeys, right? Things that we should know. That something's going wrong. We're not getting something right. We should know it. Why are we so confounded? It's just a purple monkey, right? And we have those, and a lot of times we're ashamed. And, Mark and Trish are absolutely right. You go to Facebook and you get destroyed, asking the questions. Now, I'm still in the groups. I love them because I like to see some of the responses. They're just like, oh, humanity. Man, we need something else. I'll go ahead and tell you, I know that a lot of people think that as a technician that I know all the answers. They build me up that way. Absolutely not true, right? Absolutely not true. And there's times that, even as a technician, we make mistakes. Matter of fact, whenever Stephanie and I got our Grand Design about 3 years ago, it was new to us. At this time, we bring it home, we're getting everything set up. Stephanie, it was a used unit. We had found out that for us, that's the way we go because we look at floor plan. If we can get the floor plan we want, that's what we want to go with. We got a used unit, and so Stephanie does the first thing. We bring it home, we're going to clean it. So we're hooking it up, and we have a Nautilus system. Now, on this Nautilus system, and I hate how they do this, I have, of course, 2 different areas that I can actually hook up my water hose to. One of those is to hook into the Nautilus system. The other one is for the black tank flush. And you would think for a couple $100,000, they'd give me enough stickers to tell me which one is which. Well, I have 2 places where I could hook up my hose, one directly above the other, and they stick the sticker right in the middle, and it says black tank flush. No arrows. So you have to decide, well, which one is it? So Stephanie and I, we actually have, our little discussion, just like all of you, and apparently we were not on the same page. I'm looking at it as a known technician. I know which one I should hook it up to, right? So I'm going ahead and I say, I think we need to hook it up to this one. There's an elbow there. We should hook it up to that one. She says, no, we should hook it up to the top one. Now, guys, I think at this point, we have a choice. We can be right, or we could be happy. It's been a while, but I learned to be happy. All right, let's just go ahead and hook it up, right? Hook it up to what she wanted to. So that's what we've done. Then we're going inside, and she's a clean freak. She is cleaning this rig. It's already, of course, day one, we bought it from someone else who cleaned it, right? But they didn't do it Stephanie clean, right? I've learned now I don't even try anymore, because I say, hey, look, I cleaned. What? You didn't clean this, this, this? All right, you know what? Did you clean? No. So we're in there cleaning, and after about 30 minutes of cleaning, all of a sudden we have water coming down from the bathroom, coming up through the toilet. I had another choice to make at that point. I go running out, right? I go running out at this point because I know what happened. We hooked it up to where she wanted to hook up to, which was the black tank flush. Now, our black tank, it's only going to hold so much water. And once it gets that much water, it starts rising. Okay? And at this point, it hits the toilet. And if your seal is great, it may not go through the seal. But this one came right up through the seal and started overflowing the toilet. A used unit. So I go running outside, and I have this choice at this point. In my head, I had everything within me to say, I told you so. Again, I could be right, or I could be sleeping outside. So I whisper it, I told you so. There you go, turn it off. Am I correct?
Well, Mr. Henson, that was a lovely story, but I do remember it differently. We had that discussion about that little label, and I think he had it in the city water, and he did move it to the black tank, but I don't remember telling you to do that.
Yeah, so I'm up here, and I know how the story went. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so we have all these big, hairy problems as RVers. Guys, it's just par for the course, and you can choose to do one of two things. You can either let it get you down, or you can grow from it, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to look at just going over some of the basics of electricity with you, because there's a lot of nuances to our RVs, a little bit different from our standard sticks and bricks home. Oh, by the way, you new RVers, have you figured out that we, avid RVers, we have a language of our own? We call it RVnese, right? You have to learn that the only thing in the RV space that was ever created, that we originated, was our own language, right? You know, your vehicle, if you have a motorhome and you're towing your vehicle, what do you call that? A toad. Did you ever call that a toad before you started RVing? No, probably not, right? Well, your house that you have, we call those a sticks and bricks house, right? Because all houses are either made of sticks or bricks, right? So there's some RVnese that we have, and so as you're learning about your RV, there's also the language that you have to learn, right? So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to go over a little bit about electricity, and by the end, and here's my goal, what we have to understand about the RV electricity is it's limited. We do not have the same amount of power we did in our house, and that can cause a lot of different issues. Not only that, but your house doesn't typically have 12 volts or DC voltage. And just as Mark and Trish pointed out, you know, that things should work. It's there, it should work. Why doesn't it work? Well, let's go ahead and get started with this. The first thing that we need to understand is that all RVs, every single one of them, have 3 different electrical systems in there. 3 different electrical systems. All right, all RVs, of course, we know that they have batteries. The first one is that they have a chassis battery, okay? Now, the chassis battery, that's going to actually take care of our starter, our lights, and our ignition, right? So when I say lights, I'm talking running lights. As you're going down the road, let's say you're sleeping, hopefully you're the passenger, right? It's dusk, you wake up, and you see red lights in front of you. Let me ask you real quick. You have to think real fast. Is that RV or that vehicle in front of you, are they going the same direction you are, or are they coming towards you? Red lights. Same direction. Probably just slower because you see red lights. All right? You fall asleep again, you wake up, and you see amber lights coming at you, right? That's whenever you swerve, and you're not even the one driving. All right, so your chassis battery is going to handle your starter, your running lights, and your ignition. And I'm saying that every single RV has a chassis battery. Are we all okay with that? You're all accepting. I got some people saying no, thank you. Why is it no? Why, if I say every single RV has a chassis battery, okay, this is where my people with the mics, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You're supposed to raise your hand. We do have a thing. This is kind of like the Maury Povich show, right? So you have to raise your hand because you may have a wonderful answer. I can hear it, but not everyone else. All right. So, yes.
A trailer does not have a starter or other.
A trailer. Now, when you say trailer, a towable.
Towable.
A towable. Okay. What about fifth wheels? All right. So I'm wrong. Not in my house. See, I could still tell the story where I was right. Now, so actually, let's think about this. Whenever you connect your trailer, your towable, your fifth wheel, to your tow vehicle, and you got a choice, a truck or a ram. Those are the two choices you have. Whenever you hook that up, you know that little umbilical cord you connect? That 7-pin or that 4-pin connector? Oh, guess what you are connecting? The chassis battery to your trailer. So yes, all RVs have 3 forms of electricity, the first one being the chassis battery, right? So this is why whenever you disconnect your truck or your Ram, your running lights don't typically work, right? Okay, so that's the first one. And never, hardly ever do they ever mix. So we have that one. We have the other one, which we call coach voltage, another new term. Coach voltage. Now these are going to be the batteries that actually run our lights, our 12-volt fans, our water pump, and almost everything else, every appliance in our RV that actually runs off some type of thermostat. Actually, in the RV space, 12 volts rules all, right? So what I typically teach is that 12 volts is the brains, and 120 volts, well, that's the brawn, right? The brains tells the brawn what to do. So in our rigs, we have not only chassis voltage, but we have coach voltage, and that's going to run our appliances. It tells the 120 volts what to do. So the 120 volts is the dumb one, right? Oh, you want me to go here? Okay. All right, then we have, of course, our house voltage. It's no different than, of course, our sticks and bricks home. All right, so we good with that so far? Great. So if we look in here, the chassis voltage, running lights, starter, and electric wheel brakes, right? Now, our electric wheel brakes, that's whenever we, for those of us that have towables, if you have a towable, you have electric wheel brakes on your trailer, correct? Right? So whenever you hit your brakes, you're actually sending power back to your brakes on your trailer. Now, the question is, you also, whenever you hook up that umbilical cord, you also have that other wire there. What's that other wire for? A breakaway switch, right? Well, down in the South, we call that the Jesus switch. Because if you use it, what's the words coming out of your mouth? Right. All right. So your brakes, it's a funny thing. On your trailer, they actually run off of both 12-volt systems. Off of both. So if you are plugged into your truck and you have that umbilical cord connected in and you have that breakaway switch in, you're actually using the battery from your truck or Ram. But that breakaway switch, should it actually be engaged, it is now using the battery from your trailer. Let's think about it. The reason for that breakaway switch is to lock up your brakes should it be pulled away from your vehicle, right? And so it's actually using one or the other, and it's just a little switch in between the two. You ever played with it? It's kind of fun. Well, okay, if you don't like your neighbor, let's say your neighbor's dog bit you or something like that, just go ahead and pull it. No. All right, the second form of electricity we need to look at, of course, is our coach voltage. And as I said, this is going to run our lights, our water pump, our fans, our air conditioner. We can't turn our air conditioner on. Most of us, if we have a thermostat, we can't turn the air conditioner on without the 12 volts, okay? So it's the brains. Same thing if we have an absorption-style RV refrigerator, can't run without 12 volts. Okay, so we're good there. And of course, I said that most of this 12 volts is just for our, just the brains, right? Doesn't do a whole lot of work, except for our leveling system and of course our slide outs. Now, let me go ahead and give you a thought right here real quick. Now, you've been driving all day. You know that your battery should be being charged up by your truck. If it's a Ram, may not happen. You pull into a site, it's hot. You try and get your leveling gear down, your leveling gear goes down just a bit, and then all of a sudden it stops. You have a dead battery. The thing you should do is, of course, is immediately you should plug in your 120 volt plug into shore power, right? Now, if I say shore power, again, that's kind of Arvanese. What is shore power? Pedestal. Where did we get the word shore power? From the Marines? Hoorah. From the marine industry, right? Right? Because they have those big boats out there, the yachets. Anyone a yachet owner? Okay. We do have a couple of those people here. yachts, right? So on the yacht, you have 120 volt needs. You can have a generator, but you only take so much fuel with you or whatnot. So when you pull back into shore, you can plug into shore power because, of course, electricity and water go hand in hand, right? So we just stole that from the marine industry. We just call it shore power, but it's technically just a pedestal, right? So I'm telling you to plug in your pedestal because when you plug in your pedestal, how does that help your 12 volts out? Converter charger, right? Okay, so we're getting there. We got a converter charger. Now, what does a converter charger do? It takes AC and turns it to, man, I'm just waiting for my help to actually get out there. Can you raise your hand, please? All right. So you got to be Johnny on the spot. Stephanie, you can go ahead. He's already got someone else. There we go. No, go ahead. As we're waiting.
Make up your mind.
AC into DC.
Takes AC and steps it down to DC, right? So it steps it down because we're taking 120 volts AC, stepping it down to 12 volts DC. And so what we're doing is we're actually helping that battery out. So here's the situation. You've been driving around all day, getting to your site. It's hot. You're just trying to get your leveling gear down so you can get your slides out. Go inside and hopefully turn on the air conditioner. But your leveling gear won't go down. It just goes down just a bit and then it stops. You break out your phone. You want to go ahead and consort the Facebook engineers because there's a lot of them, right? You do that and what do they say? Oh, well, you know what? If you just stay in your truck or your Ram and just keep that 7-pin connector connected, your alternator will charge that battery. Just wait 4, 5, 6 more hours because that's what it's going to take. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, how can you just go ahead and take care of this quickly without anything to buy, just one simple tool? How can you take care of that and not wait 3 or 4 hours? If you've been to my class, put your hand down.
Jumper cables.
Jumper cables. Okay, so we have one option, jumper cables, to go ahead and do that. Okay, where would you put the jumper cables? Okay, so from your Ford to the battery is what he said. Yeah, you could do that. What if you don't have jumper cables? Now we're getting it.
I used it the other day. They make this really nice thing. It's very small, but it's a battery.
Wow, you even have a mic.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, I even have a mic. They make a very, very small battery
Juice box.
And I
Okay.
used it the other day to start my generator because I let the lithium batteries go to 0 or 0.5 or whatever, 5%, and woke up and the generator wouldn't start. But it did start just like that.
Okay. That's one option. I can tell you it's something even smaller than that. Can I tell you, you don't need to buy anything else, but I will leave it there because this is kind of fun. You have to think about it for a while. All right, we'll come back to that. Oh, well, I do have a late question or a late answer. 2 late submittals.
Switch the batteries.
Switch batteries.
To the
So,
trailer.
new RVer, avid RVer, new RVer. So you're gonna carry a bunch of extra batteries.
No, take it out of the truck and then switch it just to get the leveling down. Then switch
Okay,
it back.
so switch it. Okay, man, I'm lazy. I'm gonna find a lot easier way to do it than that. Yes,
This is a total guess.
I have no. Oh, there you are.
I'm not this kind of person, but I'm going to guess. You unhook your truck because the shore power will help the battery work.
So close.
I like that. It's not gonna make it help it work any faster. Okay, it will not help it work any faster. So these are good. Yes.
So why wouldn't you just plug into shore power and drop your stabilizers?
Okay, so that's the situation. You plug into shore power and you still can't get your legs down.
Oh, I got you.
So here's the situation, right? Your battery is DEAD. It is dead. Okay? You should have had it charged up a little bit, at least from that alternator all the way down, and it's happened to us, at some point, because especially with the batteries we get from, whenever we purchase we have no clue what the state of charge is, right? It's just dead. You go ahead and plug in your shore power to use your converter, and you still can't get your legs down. Yes?
You do it with the mechanical tool that was provided with the coach?
He's not as lazy
A
as we are.
nondescript one, okay? Yes. All right, so let's just think on that for a second. I'll kind of get to it as we go through there. So I just want to pose the question, let it sit there, marinate for a little bit, and let's see what we can come up with. All right, so we're moving on with our coach voltage. We have, of course, our 12 volts. Now we move over to the voltage that we're used to on our sticks and bricks, the wall, right? All wall outlets. All right, so that's all 120. Our interior lights, should you have a wall lamp or an older RV that still has incandescent light bulbs, 120 volts. Air conditioner, and of course our microwave. Oh, and one more thing, that power converter. Now you'll see down at the bottom I've got power converter and of course our water heater. The reason why I separated those two is because those are typically out of sight and out of mind. You don't even know that they're on. You don't even know that they're on. All right, so typically our RVs, we really have 3 different levels of power. If you have a real small casita or just a little teardrop or something like that, you've got 15 amps available for you to use inside your rig. Then, of course, we have the other 2, which is typically what a majority of us have. 30 amp service and 50 amp service, right? We're on limited power. We'll get into what amps are. We'll talk about watts. We'll figure out that these are all just people, right? Just coming up with stuff, okay? But understand that we have limited power. Well, if we have limited power, the problem that we have is if we don't know that it's on, we don't think that it's actually using power. That converter is always on. You plug it into shore power, that converter is pulling power, and you don't know it. And if you're like us, now I'll tell you, we're camp queens.
No problem.
It's another Arvanese term. That means that you have to have full hookups. No matter where you go, everything works. You see the pictures where you have this really nice rig and it's got everything on it, you go, okay, fine, now I'll go camping. Well, that's us, right? And so our water heater's always on, right? Even if we don't need it. It's just we're too lazy to go. All right, so it's always using power. Yes?
So my previous statement about you use your shore power
Yes.
to make your battery work, I'm going to add, is there a way to reverse the power converter so that it automatically sends power to the battery, or use that power? As soon as you put power converter up there, I went, maybe we could use that.
You're on to something. You are on
But I don't
to
know what I'm on to. That's the problem.
You're nailing it.